Did you know that, native English speakers only use about 800 words for it's 80% of their daily conversations?
Wait, really? Only 800?
Yeah, it's crazy. Welcome to Podcast Zone 2, guys. I'm Erica.
And I'm Marco. But hold on, 800 words? That's literally nothing. I feel like I use that many just ordering coffee.
Right? You'd think it's thousands and thousands, but honestly, most of daily English is just the same few phrases recycled over and over.
Okay, so then why is it so incredibly hard for, people learning English to actually just talk to someone at a grocery store?
Oh, the dreaded grocery store interaction.
Yes, like you study grammar for 5 years, you know all the rules.
Mm-hmm.
And then a guy says, "How's it going?" And your brain just completely flatlines.
Totally flatlines. You just stand there like a deer in headlights.
Exactly, like I am fine, thank you. And you? It sounds so robotic.
It does, because textbooks teach you how to write an essay, not how to buy bananas.
Buying bananas is very important, Erica.
Crucial. But that's the big problem, right? The pain point for every learner.
Yeah, the brain freeze.
Exactly. So the trick isn't learning more words, it's learning chunks.
Chunks? Like chocolate chunks?
I wish. No, word chunks. Think of it imagine you're building a Lego house.
Okay, I love Legos.
Right, so would you rather build the house using those tiny single dot pieces?
Ugh, those are the worst.
Or would you use the big pre-made walls and roof pieces?
Oh, the big pieces for sure. It's way faster.
Exactly. Words are the tiny dot pieces. Chunks are the big walls.
Oh, now I get it. So you're saying, wait, give me an example.
Okay, so instead of thinking, what are you doing, assembling it word by word,
Right, worrying about the grammar, the verbs.
you just grab the big chunk. What you up to?
What you up to? Wait, that's not even real words.
To a native speaker, it's one big word, wachapto.
Jeez, no wonder people get so confused.
I know. It's like a secret code.
So if I learn these chunks, I don't have to think about grammar in the moment?
Bingo! You bypass the grammar part of your brain entirely.
That's actually a massive relief, because trying to remember the present continuous tense while a barista is staring at you
Is terrifying.
it really is. It's like a grumpy waiter judging your soul.
Grumpy waiter judging your soul is so accurate.
Okay, hit me with another one, another chunk.
All right. How about when you need to leave a place?
Oh, like a party.
Yeah, exactly. A textbook says, I must go now. Goodbye.
Which nobody has ever said in the history of the world.
Literally never, unless you're a time traveler from the 1800s.
Right.
What people actually say is, I gotta head out.
I gotta head out.
Yeah, or just, I'm gonna take off.
Take off like an airplane?
Exactly. See, that's the weird visual analogy. You aren't sprouting wings, but everyone knows what it means.
That is so weird. Wait, let me try one. Let me guess one.
Go for it.
If someone asks how I'm doing, instead of "I'm fine," I could say, "I'm not bad, you?"
Yes, that's perfect.
Really? I just totally guessed that.
Not bad you is one of the most common responses ever. It's quick, it's polite, and it bounces the conversation right back.
Oh, I love that, bouncing it back. So it's like a tennis match.
100%. Conversation is just throwing the ball back and forth using these little chunks.
Okay, this is blowing my mind, Erica. I feel like we need to dig into more of these survival phrases because I'm definitely stealing them.
You absolutely should steal them, Marco. That's literally the whole point of learning this way.
Right. So what's next? Like, what's another huge, everyday situation?
Okay, think about ordering food or coffee.
Oh man, every single day. Literally every day.
Exactly. So if you go into a cafe, how do you ask for a coffee?
I'd probably just say, I want a black coffee, please.
Okay, so it's not wrong, but...
Wait, is it rude? Oh God, I've been saying that for years.
No, it's not super rude, but saying I want sounds a little like a demanding toddler.
A toddler. Great. I sound like a 3-year-old demanding juice.
Just a little bit. It's like, imagine you're a grumpy waiter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And someone points at the menu and goes, I want this. It's just very blunt.
Yeah, I guess that is kind of aggressive. So what's the survival phrase then?
The absolute best, most magical phrase is, can I get?
Can I get...
Yep. Can I get a large latte? Or can I get the chicken sandwich?
Wait, really? Just can I get? That feels almost too casual.
I know, right? It feels weirdly informal, but native speakers use it like 90% of the time.
So instead of I want, which is toddler energy.
Yes, exactly.
I just say, can I get, and boom, I sound totally natural.
Boom, you sound like you've lived here for 10 years.
Okay, I am writing that down right now. Can I get?
There's another one too if you want to sound just a tiny bit fancier.
Ooh, yes, please. Give me the fancy version, Erica.
I'll have.
I'll have a...
Exactly. I'll have the steak. I'll have a water. It's very smooth.
Okay, wait, let me practice. Let me try it.
Go for it. You're at the counter.
Yes, hello. I'll have the biggest donut you have.
Perfect. Flawless execution.
See? The tennis match. I hit the ball right back.
You totally did. You're a natural, Marco.
Okay, so we've got greetings, we've got ordering coffee. What about interrupting?
Oh, that's a huge one. Interrupting is so awkward if you don't know the right phrase.
Right, because usually I just stand there awkwardly until someone looks at me.
The silent hovering technique. We've all done it.
Yeah, it's like I'm a ghost just waiting to be noticed. It's terrible.
So instead of haunting the conversation,
Haunting, yes.
you just use a little chunk to slide in. You say, sorry to interrupt, but...
Sorry to interrupt, but that's it?
That's it. Sorry to interrupt, but do you have a pen?
Oh, wow. It's almost like a shield. You say sorry first and then attack.
A shield and attack. I love that analogy. Yes.
Because if I just say, do you have a pen? They're like, whoa, buddy, I'm talking here.
Exactly. The sorry to interrupt is the social glue that makes it polite.
Okay, I'm getting this. It's all about softening the blow, right?
100%. English is completely obsessed with politeness and softening things.
That makes so much sense. Like, we don't like directness. We like pillows, verbal pillows.
Verbal pillows. Marco, you are on fire today with these analogies.
Hey, I'm trying. But seriously, this is so much easier than memorizing grammar rules.
Right? Grammar is like trying to build a car engine from scratch.
Ugh, yes, nightmare.
But using these survival phrases is like just turning the key and driving.
Mind blown, literally blown. Okay, I need more of these. What about leaving a conversation?
Ooh, escaping. Escaping is an art form.
Because I am terrible at saying goodbye. I always make it so weird.
Okay, tell me what you usually do. Like, how weird does it get?
Well, I literally just say, okay, bye, and walk away.
Oh no, Marco, no.
I know. People just stand there looking at me like I just insulted their dog.
Yeah, because in English, you can't just eject, you have to land the plane slowly.
Land the plane slowly. Okay, more analogies. I love it.
Exactly. You need what I call the pre-goodbye.
Wait, there's a pre-goodbye? Like a warm-up stretch before leaving?
Yes, you have to signal that you want to leave without actually saying, I want to leave.
That is so passive-aggressive.
It is, but it's polite. The best trick is to pretend you are doing them a favor.
Wait, I don't get it. How is me running away a favor to them?
You use the magic phrase, well, I should let you go.
I should let you go?
Yep. Like, oh, you must be so busy. I'm holding you hostage. I will gracefully release you.
But they aren't busy. We're just like drinking coffee.
Doesn't matter. It's the ultimate verbal pillow, Erica. Wait, no, you're Marco. It makes them feel important.
Okay, so, well, I should let you go. That's actually brilliant.
Right? And you have to pair it with a physical action, like you slap your knees.
Slap your knees? Oh my gosh, my dad does that. He slaps his jeans and goes, welp.
The universal whelp. Yes. Well, I should let you go. Works every single time.
That is, wow. Okay, what if I'm at like a party? I can't slap my knees standing up.
Good point. At a party, you use the future focus.
Future focus?
Yeah, you say something like, anyway, it was so great catching up.
Ah, catching up.
Yeah, or let's grab lunch sometime soon. It signals the conversation is over.
Even if I literally never want to get lunch with them?
Oh, 100%. Never make actual plans. It's just a polite lie.
English is just a series of polite lies.
Honestly, kind of. But it keeps society running smoothly, you know?
So true. Okay, so I've got my survival phrases for agreeing and for escaping,
You're practically fluent in small talk now.
right? But wait, what if I'm talking to someone and I completely don't understand what they said?
Oh, the dreaded brain freeze.
Yes, because okay, usually I just panic and say what?
Oof, yeah, just saying what can sound a little aggressive.
I know, I sound like a grumpy waiter. What? But I don't mean it that way.
It's okay, it's just really direct. Again, we need our verbal pillows.
Pillows, pillows, pillows. Hit me. How do I politely say my brain is buffering?
First of all, my brain is buffering is hilarious. You could actually say that to a friend.
Really?
Totally. But in a normal situation, just say, sorry, I missed that.
Sorry, I missed that. That's really easy.
Super easy. Notice you're taking the blame. I missed it, not you spoke weirdly.
Oh, now I get it. It's all about making the other person feel safe.
Exactly, Marco. You're taking the heat.
Taking the heat. Nice idiom.
Thanks. You can also say, could you say that one more time?
Could you say that one more time?
Perfect. You sound completely native.
Wait, let me try a combo. Sorry, I missed that. Could you say that one more time?
Boom. Masterpiece. And if you want to be extra casual, just say, sorry, what was that?
Sorry, what was that? Okay, I like that one. It's shorter.
It is. But here's the real secret to all of this.
Ooh, a secret? Okay, I'm leaning in. Tell me.
It's not about the words. It's about the tone.
The tone? Like not sounding like a robot?
Exactly. You could use perfect grammar, but if your tone is flat, it fails.
Oh, I definitely struggle with tone. I always sound either angry or terrified.
Angry or terrified. That's a dangerous combo, Marco.
I know. It's because I'm panicking inside, right? I'm like, oh no, I didn't understand a single word.
Right. So like imagine a grumpy waiter. If he says, "What do you want?" with a scowl.
Oh, I'm tipping zero, immediately $0.
Exactly. But if he smiles and says, "What do you want?" Well, that's still weird grammar for a waiter, but you get it.
Wait, yeah, a waiter wouldn't actually say that.
Did say, "What can I get for you?" But my point is, tone changes everything. You gotta smile when you ask someone to repeat themselves.
Smile. Just physically smile?
Literally, yes. Try it right now. Say, sorry, what was that? With a massive, cheesy smile.
Okay. Sorry, what was that? Wow, my cheeks hurt.
See, you sounded like my favorite neighbor instead of, a debt collector.
A debt collector. Wow, Erica, thanks. Just brutal.
I'm here to help, Marco. Honestly, it's all about keeping it light.
Okay, so we've got the greetings, the asking people to repeat stuff, and the tone. What's next?
The exit, the great escape. How do you end a conversation?
Oh, I just turn around and walk away.
You do not. You don't just leave.
I mean, I want to. Sometimes people just keep talking and I'm like, please let me leave.
Well, the trick to escaping is the wrap-up phrase. It's a lifesaver.
The wrap-up phrase. Wait, give me an example.
The absolute best one in everyday English is just saying, anyway, I should let you go.
I should let you go. Oh, that is sneaky.
Right? Because it sounds like you're doing them a favor.
Like they are the busy ones. Oh, I've taken up too much of your time. I love that.
Exactly. Anyway, I should let you go. It was so great seeing you. Boom, you're free.
Let me try. Anyway, I should let you go. It feels so smooth, like butter.
It is. Another good one is, well, I gotta run. Very casual.
I gotta run. Does that mean literally running? Because I don't run, Erica. I don't do cardio.
No, Marco, you don't have to sprint away. It just means you're in a hurry.
Okay, got it. So I gotta run or I should let you go.
Yes. And then you add the final piece, the well wish. The well wish? Like, have a good life? No, that sounds like you're never seeing them again. Just say, have a good one.
Have a good one. Wait, what is the one? A good day? A good week?
It's all of it. It's the ultimate lazy English phrase. It covers day, night, weekend, whatever.
Oh, that is amazing. I love being lazy.
We all do. Okay, so put it all together for me. Wrap up a conversation.
All right, here we go. Anyway, Erica, I should let you go. Have a good one.
Flawless. Seriously, you sound like a local.
Wow, I actually feel more confident now. Like I don't have to be terrified anymore.
See? No more debt collector, Marco. Just friendly, smiling Marco.
I'll take it. So we covered a lot today.
We really did. So here's a quick practice step for everyone listening right now.
Ooh, homework. Give it to him.
Don't call it homework. That's boring. It's a challenge. Next time you buy coffee or groceries, just say, "Have a good one" to the cashier.
Just that one phrase?
Yep. Instead of just saying bye, swap it for "have a good one." See how natural it feels.
I like that. It's small, it's easy, and you don't even have to do the cheesy smile if you don't want to.
Exactly. And here's my question for the audience. What's the English phrase that confuses you the most?
Oh, that's a great question because there are so many weird ones out there.
Way too many. Let us know in the comments or wherever you're listening what phrase just makes zero sense to you.
And maybe we'll cover it in the next episode.
We absolutely will. We'll decode the madness.
Well, Erica, I guess this is the part where we practice what we just preached, right?
You're so right. It is time for the Great Escape.
All right. Well, anyway, guys, I should let you go.
Before you go, make sure to subscribe and follow Podcast Zone 2 for more episodes.
Yes, hit that button. We've got so much more coming.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. Have a good one.
Have a good one, everybody. Catch you next time.